these closures. New York's governor fired back with this warning.
Question is the vaccine safe? Frankly, I'm not going to trust the federal government's opinion. And I wouldn't recommend to New Yorkers based on the federal government's opinion. New York State will have its own review when the federal government is finished with their review and says it's safe.
Here to react is Fox News medical contributor and author of Make America Healthy Again, friend of the show, Dr. Nichole Saphire. Doctor, thank you so much for being here. So help me out here, walk me off the ledge. How irresponsible is it for a governor to say something like this?
Well, with all due respect, Governor, who himself is under intense scrutiny for the way he and his public health officials have handled the COVID-19 crisis, I don't think he has a very strong platform to stand on by coming out and questioning the integrity of the highly qualified independent review panel that is put together by the FDA to evaluate the safety and efficacy of vaccines and other drugs. And to be honest, Pete, the politicization of science, specifically COVID-19, has to end. This is irresponsible, it is dangerous, and we cannot have people promulgating fear when it comes to the vaccine. Operation Warp Speed has made tremendous progress. Yes, I will say the critics of the timing of it have some points. We do not want to rush a vaccine. We want to make sure we have at least 2 months of data following that second injection before an EUA or approval is sought after. And we also need to make sure that we are reviewing to see which vaccine is the best. But that being said, Pete, we have several vaccines, we have a lot of data, and I can tell you that the FDA will do their due diligence. They will make sure that it works and that it is safe before they give their stamp of approval. And we do not need a governor of a state who, why should anyone trust him in his review of the vaccine when we have the highest qualified people working in these independent review boards?
As he's telling people to stay locked down in perpetuity, schools, restaurants, houses of worship. You mentioned facts and data, Doctor. The CDC released this information very recently. Here are the survival rates for age groups. Almost all in the 99% range up to 70 years old. These are people, if they've gotten COVID-19, the survival rate is above 99% for anyone under 69 years of age. How does an average person not look at those numbers and say, hey, I'm 50, I'm 40, I'm 30, I'm 65. Why can't I choose to resume my life, accept those risk numbers, while you tell me to walk around with a mask and not sit in a restaurant, not go to school, and not go to church? How does that add up?
Well, that's right, Pete. And we have to be careful when we look at those CDC numbers. So the data comes from, this is what is we call the infection fatality rates, meaning they're taking that seroprevalence data. They're looking at how many people were likely exposed to the virus already, and then adding those case fatalities with it. That data actually is coming on based off estimates from Europe, which doesn't necessarily equate to the United States, but they're probably pretty similar. They also don't include people over the age of 80, which we know is extremely high risk.
Of course.
That being said, Pete, we have said from the beginning that the case fatality rate or the infection fatality rate is likely going to be under 1% for COVID-19. And that's what these numbers are saying. The truth of the matter is a high percent of people died early on because we did not know that this elderly were the most vulnerable. There were mishaps along the way. The elderly were not protected, and we had hospitals overrun. That being said, going forward, we need to take this data, take this information, and move on. We know that we can open restaurants, we can open schools, we can open gyms. We can still do it in a safe manner while protecting the elderly. We do need to regain some level of normalcy whilst continuing to protect those who are vulnerable to COVID-19.
Well, and if you want to stay credible on the meaningful stuff, don't make me do stuff based on a 0.01% chance. Dr. Nichole Saphire, thank you so much for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Pete.
And that goes to show the CDC and the federal government is full of fucking shit. You can kiss my ass. 2 months and then we'll figure it out with a second vaccine? No, fucker, no. Nope. That sounds like calling. Sounds like we want to just inject the old people, kill them off, and let's see what happens after 2 months. Nah, that's all right. Nope. I know my mother and my elderly people are not getting a shot. So to that doctor who was just on Fox News at 8:51 a.m. on Saturday the 27th, you can kiss my ass. I got a vaccine, but it don't come out of a syringe.